on.
Okay. The parable of the talents, and the parable of the 10 virgins are in the same category. I mean, they're in Matthew 25. And please read this in the King James Version, because you will not get an accurate description of what God is telling us if you don't. And they're related to each other. And the Lord was pointing this out to me in a dream last night, in which my older daughter was, she has a talent for God. She can sing real good, which she is not using. And there was this crowd of people that she was wanting to be hid, and she was there was a big hole there that I had dug, or somebody had dug, and I don't think it was me, but I was more than willing to hide her down in that hole. And then I covered her up, and on the top of the ground there was a piano that had formed on top of this hole. She wasn't buried to where she was covered up and couldn't move, but the hole was still there, and there was, like, you know, vents where she could breathe and stuff like that. But she was like, it was like she was comfortable inside the hole. And that's the way that we get into our little holes, hiding from God and from the talents that God gives us, and we get comfortable with it. And then as soon as the people had gone, she came out of her hole, you know. And you know, we get to thinking about what we're doing with the talents that God has gives us, and we reason away that we haven't wasted those talents. But God is very serious about the talents that He gives to us. He wants these talents to be used in front of people, not just around family members or around people that we know, or people that come into our house, stuff like that. God, we have a public ministry. There is no such thing as a private Christian. No such thing. The Bible tells us that whosoever confesses with his mouth, you know. And the idea of that is that you continuously confess. Continuously confess. And if you read these parables, one with the other, if you go to Matthew chapter 25, the parable of the virgins is found in 1 through 13, and the parable of the talents is found in verse 14 down through verse 30. And the last part of the parable of the talents saying, cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness, thou shalt be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And listen to this, the last verse in the parable of the virgins says, watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. Both of these are warnings to us. And the Lord pointed out to me last night that we are unaware that God has placed these talents inside of the man. This is not something that you obtain along the way. God doesn't necessarily give you the ability to perform this talent that He has put into you. There was a lady at our church, and I went through this myself, who when she first started singing couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. If she had had a truck, she couldn't have carried a tune. But she continued, and she stayed with it. What God had put in her heart drove her to do those miraculous things that eventually began to come out of her. Just like with me, God did not give me the ability. Hand me my guitar. God did not give me the ability to play guitar. I tried, and for years to play guitar. When I was a teenager, I got so mad at my guitar that I hit that thing with my fist and I cracked it all down the side because I couldn't make it do what I wanted it to do. And truthfully, I didn't start playing the guitar very well at all until I was in my 30s. But all those years, I would put my guitar down, and in 6 months I'd pick it up again because there was something that God put in my heart that just kept me coming back, playing that guitar again and again and again. And I just want to prove to you that I can play a guitar today.
Wow.
I got rhythm and everything. But see now, I didn't have that. I didn't have that at all in me when I was a teenager. But I had a desire deep within my heart to do that thing that God put in me. He put a desire. And a lot of times, just like this lady at church, God put a desire in her. And God even gave me the ability to sing along with that. And that's what He gives you. And those are the kind of talents that, if you have a desire, I mean, people ask me all the time, I don't know. I says, what desire do you have? And I tell them this story. Listen, you don't always have the ability to perform that desire which God put in you, but that is the talent that God's talking about. And God puts the desire, He puts it in you. This thing that we bury is the desire. We bury the desire that God has put into us. We reason it away. I can't do that. I just can't do that. Yes, you can. You just got to keep at it until the thing comes out. Listen, one day God told me, He spoke directly to my heart. He says, get up and sing. So I said, Lord, and I'm arguing with Him, Lord, you know what I sound like. I said, these people don't want to hear me. They don't want to hear me play. Right now I play with one of the best groups in this town that I live in. I play with one of the best groups in this town, and I can fairly keep up with them. They're really good players. Our pastor's one of the best bass players. He's one of the best guitar players, and we have two very talented men that came from their family came from Kentucky, and man, they're really good. And I tell you what, man, I really have to pay attention to where I'm going when I play with those folks. And I sing, and I can carry a spirit. And when God told me to get up, I'd never had imagined what He had in mind. That's why I'm arguing with Him. So He didn't do it. He didn't argue back. He just, that quiet, still voice again in my heart. Get up and go sing. So I did. I got up and I went and sang. And man, you know what? Pretty soon, what I started playing like started sounding what I was singing like. And I thought, man, you know what? The first song I really got a hold of, you know, I can still remember it. I must have sang that song for hours. You know, I don't remember exactly how long I sang. I thought, you know, I was feeling the spirit in that song. And if you have a talent, listen, uncover that thing. Get that desire out. And go to work for God. Amen. Alrighty. I thank you for joining me. We'll see you again next time. Another great message right here on Crossing the Middle Ministry.